We've got Chris and Gwen here from Contrado. The guys are amazing. I went to visit them recently. I said, you've got to do a masterclass for everyone because there's so many different types of printing. And I think you should explain it to everyone. Not everyone knows all the ins and outs. So why don't we do a masterclass? So that's why they're here today. So with no further ado, over to you, Chris and Gwen from Contrado. It's all yours.
Thank you, Kay, from Make It British. We really appreciate that. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We are very excited to talk to you a bit more about Contrado. You may have heard a little bit about us before. My name's Chris. I'm the MD. This is Gwen. He's head of our customer experience. He's been with us 20 years. And for my sins, I've been running the business for 20 years. So it's been a long journey of learning and an evolving tale for the Contrado story. Today, we want to talk about designing and printing for fabric. And there's a lot to that. Some of you may well have a lot of experience in this already. Some may be new. Contrado is a platform and a company where we make a lot of products. And fabrics is one of our central, most successful products at the heart of the company. But we do make a lot of other products as well. So sometimes, as you can see from our backdrop, you'll see and hear about a few other products that we make. But quite often, and mostly, it's the fabrics that are the most exciting heart of the business, and they're the ones that we make the most products with. There is a huge range of items and products that can be made with the textiles, from home interiors to garments, to everything from canvases for the wall to headwear, accessories, and there's so many different opportunities to use the fabrics. I think there's something here for everybody, and we very much welcome thoughts and ideas about things or products that you're trying to make, or you have complications in with producing the product, where we may be able to help. Contrado's side of the screen, if you like, is very much an online e-commerce platform where anybody can order fabrics by the meter from no minimum orders and up to thousands of meters as required. It really depends on the kind of business you are, and we service everybody from micro businesses, from students all the way through to converters who are producing fashion garments and interiors. So that's a huge range of who we service. So it's very specifically about the fabrics. We have 120 fabrics that we print on. As you'd expect, they'd all be white as a starting base fabric. And this set of textiles has grown with us and evolved with us as we've gone along. Initially, we started off in dye sublimation printing, which most of you will know about is a polyester fabric. One of the easiest types of printing you can start with, and that was what we started off doing. And of course, as we've evolved, making other products, and we've added in the garments and the home furnishings, we've moved into other printing types of, including pigment, and more recently in the last 3 years onto reactive printing. So this gives us a wide range of different textiles that any of our customers can select from those polyesters all the way through to high-end silks and all of the variants of polyesters and polyester blends and cottons and organics and recycled materials in the middle. So there's lots of fabrics that we've got, and we are adding more and more. And as time goes on, we expect that to go up to 200 fabrics in the next couple of years, something like that. And we're finding that we're getting a really strong, healthy demand for those types of textiles, especially the silks, the reactives and the cottons, now that we've added this facility to our offering. Gwen helps me out with the customer experience, and we've got obviously a lot of customers with a lot of different uses and needs. So I'm going to hand over to Gwen to explain how he handles the customers and how that part of the service can help you satisfy your customers or your own needs on the textiles.
Okay.
Gwen.
Yes, so we've got a customer service team online. They're on the chat. They will guide you through our whole process. I'm going to give you a little introduction. I'm going to share my screen just to show you how it works. It's super easy, but traditionally, people were basically sending their PDFs or their T files with different layers to companies, and the companies were sending you proof back. And what we do here, we basically allow you to upload all your designs online directly, see how it's going to look, select all the sizes you want, and then you can directly order it online. And you can do repeat patterns, you can do featurals, fits wallpaper, or even for fabrics. Basically, the sky is the limit. Your imagination is the limit. So that's the magic of Contrado. And because we have automated that process in the back end, it allows us to be extremely fast. And just a few words on maybe printing methods. So for example, if you talk about reactive, I've got like amazing reactive fabrics here. I've got this one is a silk, I think it's a silk satin, 85 grams per square meter. But I've got as well, you can see the back is, it's hard to see, a tiny bit whiter than the front. We've got as well another one, which is a light silk satin, 50 grams per square meter, amazing for scarves. So basically, this one is reactive. And the way it works, usually reactive printing, you can only get it like, I don't know, like abroad, you have to order thousands of meters. But for us, you can get a small piece like that, and basically we print it for you. And that whole process takes usually a long time. We have to print it onto the fabric, we have to steam it, we have to dry it, we wash it, we have to dry it. That usually takes days. With us, within 1 to 2 days, we make it happen on a small piece of fabric. So that's quite, I'm pushing you for reactive basically, and this is great for fashion. But we've got reactive, you can do all of that online. We've got obviously sublimation, like all these fabric you have here on the swatch packs. I think that's the best one. We've got different swatch packs. We've got the classic and recycled in there, which are really brilliant. And we've got all the naturals, which are in this one. We've got leather, we print on leather as well. My advice, get the premium design pack. Starter pack. Starter pack. It's on the website. It's easier. You get everything in there. So here you go. And so the way it works, I'm just going to share my screen if that's okay, just to show you how it works for those who don't know. When you discover the website, you get to contrado.co.uk or .com if you're in the US, and we ship all over the world. So we're going to focus on fabric printing. So very easy. You click on fabric printing. There's a lot more wallpaper like leather bags and so on, but fabric printing for now. You're going to get to a category page. You can scroll through it. You can see we've got all the silks, which are reactive. We've got lots of jerseys. Tencel is amazing. It's like a cellulose cotton, which is brilliant. It's very good for the environment. They use the same water all over again, but you probably, some of you might know that already, but this is great. Go for Tencel. The colors are amazing, brilliant for t-shirts. Different order, anyway, all the categories are here, and you can order fabric samples or the swatch packs. But I'm just going to go back to finding all the fabrics. You click on that button, and in here you're going to find all the fabrics we have, 120. So you can go for cotton, you can go for, I don't know, Florence net, we can go for shimmer, you can do rugs with this, you can do even bags. You can find all the print types. So reactive I was talking about. Reactive, great for fashion and garments, sublimation, pretty much everything really, like traditionally, that's what everything was done with. And then pigment, which is great for upholstery and furniture, things you don't wash that often. But let's go to reactive because I've got my little silk here. Let's just say I want to create a light silk satin. I'm clicking here. Some information about the fabrics, you can read that later. And you can select which silk you want, the light one, fashion, or the fashion scarves, or the heavier one for dresses. And then you can start design. And this is where you need to decide what you want to do. Do you have a repeatable pattern? Then you can click here, there's one interface. Or do you want to do a feature piece, like maybe, I don't know, it depends, it's whatever you want to do. So if it's a feature piece, let's just say, share start with a big pattern is the easiest one. So in here, the system allows you to upload your design. So it needs to be PNG, JPEG. You can do TIFF files, but make sure they're flattened because the interface can't handle different layers. You will end up with problems. You can upload PDFs as well, up to 25 megabytes. If your files are bigger, if you have other type files, AI and so on, contact customer service. If they can't do it, they contact us, they contact our designers, they'll try and help you. And generally, they will try to guide you through the process rather than making it for you, because at the end of the day, that's how you're going to gain time, and that's how you're going to go faster. So you can upload files directly here, or you can select one that you've uploaded before. So I'm going to use that one, the beautiful pattern that we have from before. You can select which repeat pattern you want to do. So let's say the basic pattern, you can, how is that called? It's like a half drop pattern. You can do a mirror pattern, you decide. And you can change the size of your pattern. You can make it smaller, or you can make it bigger, depending on your needs. and you can then select the dimensions of the fabric that you want. Either you go for full width, and generally online, people are going to offer you like a fat quarter or full width. Basically, they do that based on their rolls of fabric. It's easier for them to basically not give you the choice and tell you that's a fat quarter, because at the end of the day, if they get 4 customers, they're going to share them on the width of the fabric. For us, you can decide, you can do the full width, ideally, but you can also select whichever dimensions you want. So let's say if I wanted to have like a 50 by 50 piece of fabric, I can, and that's possible. And the interface is going to update as well and show you. So it's in centimeters, but you can change to inches if you want to, that's fine, or yards if you're in the US, and so on. So it's quite, we're trying to be as customer friendly as we can.
I think this is really helpful for artists and designers and even some of the manufacturers, because you can order just very small pieces or very specific sizes for a specific job, or test pieces at quite decent sizes, or you can order the full length. And when you've got these fabrics back to base, you can make those decisions about what you need. Then again, some people only need those small panels. So when they order small panels, we nest other small panel orders next to them. We're using the width of the fabric as efficiently as we possibly can, and we can satisfy lots of different customers with their requirements. For the larger businesses who may well only be interested in ordering full width, this works perfectly for them too, and they can have the full width and obviously the full meterage that they require.
Exactly.
Thank you, Gwen.
I think what would be really handy, and you might be coming onto that in a minute, could you explain the different types of printing? So sublimation, can you explain the technicalities of what the different types of printing are that you offer?
Of course. Dye sublimation printing is a digital process, and it's a way to print onto polyesters. It will print onto some blends of polyesters with cottons, but it's essentially it's type of printing for polyesters, 100% polyesters. Very good for lycras, for sportswear, for some jersey, and for some canvas. And there's quite a few differences, that different types of materials it can be applied to. But it's obviously a synthetic material, an oil-based material. Even so, there's lots of different recycled products now that are coming through that are using polyester. It is a very versatile, robust type of printing, very strong on color, very strong on rub tests, and very strong for permanence. So it has a very good place in a range of textiles where you need those types of qualities and properties to be apparent in your printing. Yeah. Pigment is another. This one is a
rug. That's sublimation.
Yeah,
and that's a rug. Basically, it's going to become
the textile we're using for going onto rug. Very hard wearing. Depends on the base textile, but you can have it very hard wearing, very robust, and it has a very good permanence of ink through durability and through washing. The next ink set we call pigment, which is another way of printing directly onto the textile. Pigment is a process that has a wider gamut, a wider range of ink colors, and can produce really stunning results. If you compare dye sublimation to pigment, you have a slightly softer tone on the pigment, and the longevity of the print on pigment is not as apparent. But that does mean that this type of printing is really useful for certain things, for example, like cotton cushion covers, the types of products that don't get a lot of hard wearing requirement. Cushion covers, some interiors and some furnishing requirements are very good. It can be used for garments. One of the issues around using pigment for garments is that the continued washing will cause the fading of the colors. But even it's a very good and very popular print method with us. We print an awful lot. It's extremely popular. We have a very wide range of cottons and natural fabrics, including linen, various different cottons, and some polyester cotton blends, which will go through pigment. And that's been very popular for us. And we print directly to the textile, which has to come coated to us. So again, it starts off life as a white substrate, white textile, but does have to have a coating on it that has covalent bond with the ink sets that are being used in the pigment process. The final ink set that we use is called reactive. This is the one that Gwen mentioned earlier, perfect for things like silks, cottons, jerseys, where you need more permanence, or where you're printing delicate items like georgettes and silk satins and some of the finer fabrics. The quality of print is really superior, and you're able to produce silks with a very perfect print with a very solid color, which will show through to the back. I think Gwen demonstrated that earlier. So the silks with a show through on the back is a very good way of thinking about the reactive. You wouldn't really get that with a dye sublimation or a pigment process for silks. And of course, using reactive on jersey, cotton jerseys, and other things like linen means that it's also got that wash fastness, so that when you're producing, we also make shirts, t-shirts, but also linen shirts. When you're producing with the reactive process, you have that longevity in the print, and that's, for the fashion world, it's very important for them to know it has that wash fastness, rub fastness, and all of the various other tests that are apparent in the garment industry. I hope that helps with a very basic understanding on the ink sets that we use. We do extensively explain those differences per fabric, and you can search different fabrics by ink set or by property or by usage, depending on how you want to end up with your order. And of course, on our blog and various other resources, there's quite a bit of information about the differences between those ink sets and the utility that you may need for your project.
So just to finish up on this, and you can also, that's also exclusive to us, I think, you can select which finishing you want for your fabrics. So we can do different kinds of hemming. We can do folded hem, we call it baby hem, black, white, and we can do overlock. So depending on the types of fabrics, we will offer you that option or not. Like on neoprene, we can't, it's too thick. And I know on silk twill, in my memory, an overlock hem is better than a folded hem, but on silk satin, we can do both, there's no problem. Yeah. So based on the fabrics, it will change. So that's quite good. You can basically make your own scarf at the size you want. So that is it for the screen sharing. I promise, I'm done.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Gwen. Yeah, I think that was a fair demonstration of what we've tried to produce for our customers and all the businesses and all the types of customers we have, to have a service where they can enter through the website and have all of those creation tools available to them to be able to produce their order. And of course, if there are other things that people need outside those tools, then we have a team of people ready to step in and support, whether it's about file, design, sizing, or any other technical material questions that come up. Kate.
That's good. So you do offer some design assistance if people are a little bit worried the first time. Repeat prints, scary.
I think with regards to the pattern print and making things align, we've been doing this for so long. We've had the question come up so often that we wanted to automate this. So in Gwen's demonstration just now, I think people probably get the idea that you can upload that master part of the pattern, if you like, and you can size it, you can very precisely measure it and have it positioned, and then you can reproduce a pattern pretty much any way you wish inside our creation studio. I think that's been a very useful tool. It is used literally hundreds upon hundreds of times a day by other people doing that. So that's an automated way of doing it. Some people do like to produce their patterns offline, and they'll produce their own document with fully laid out, all sized and correctly. That also works, and that can be uploaded into our system. So those people are also able to produce their pattern without any other usage of the creation tool. And of course, if there are people who get stuck and they have their file and they want to have it turned into a pattern, our customer services team and our designers responsible for that part of the work will step in and help solve those problems.
Amazing. So you're making printing accessible to people that don't necessarily understand about.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can advise you on this for two main elements that come regularly to customer service. So we've got a whole system which checks your designs after you've placed your order. And if it's low quality, if there's white gaps, if there's even dead pixels all around your pattern, our interface generally sees it.
Yeah.
So two pieces of advice. First, don't try to upscale your designs in Photoshop by changing the DPI. This does not improve the quality of the design at all. There's no change. People have tried to do that, then they trick the online interface and they end up with the badly printed designs, but because the students generally, but once we work with them, they understand the elements. The second thing is dead pixels. When you create a repeatable pattern, make sure not to have dead pixels all around. Use the zoom on Photoshop, zoom all the way in, and you're going to see, if you see like lighter lines on all around the edges, and that's it, that's a dead pixel. So just fix this, basically. It sounds easy, it sounds normal, but it happens every day at customer service. So even if it sounds obvious, I'd rather say it because it happens.
Yeah. I think that's a useful point, that what we've built with our creation studio, we've been trying to eliminate the very common problems that people face, which is often gaps between the pattern setting. So we've got tools there that will help that, and people can zoom in and study their pattern to make sure it is exactly as they want it.
Okay, and what format as well would you have to send it in as?
It's pretty much all formats, because we've had this question so many times, and typically they come in as JPEGs, often as PDFs, TIFF files, and the more professional designers come in with all of the professional software packages that you'd imagine. But we've set up our systems to be able to receive in all of the different file types, and it's rare now that there's something that comes in that we can't print, and there's quite a lot of a variety of different file types that we cater for.
Yeah, and I've seen a question about the DPIs. 150 DPIs is enough when you print on fabric. You do want 600, it's going to make like huge files that are not needed for printing on fabrics, especially when you think about the grain of each fabric. So it's not paper at the end of the day, it's a fabric. So 150 DPIs is enough. JPEG, PNG, flattened, and PDFs up to 25 megabytes, flattened as well.
Amazing. And then what's the best method to match your colors for printing? Do you use CMYK or Pantone? And is there a way to set up a color swatch on Photoshop to get the colors matching?
We have all sorts of ways to match the color. So we print color charts that people can access off our system and print the color charts. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but just as a simple way of referencing color, we can show that we ordered on exactly the same materials that you want. So that produces one way to get a color match.
And you can see the codes as well. I don't know if you can see them really well, but there you go.
Pantones often come up as a reference point, but it's not the same as printing on textile, and we have to use a different way of doing the color calibration, and we do it through RGB as a primary format. And should be noted that it's always wise to do a test print, because the fabrics will vary in terms of their whiteness. A file that someone is looking at home on their screen can be very different on somebody else's screen. So monitor calibration is very important when handling print files. Not everybody understands that. So if the screen is not calibrated for the print quality, then we could be a bit of a surprise for someone who does order something from home who hasn't got a calibrated screen versus our model and our calibrations. So ordering an actual test print, we print them from just A5 samples for only £1 each to demonstrate exactly the color match that you would get with our service. Yeah. And that means that you're really reducing the risk and de-risking. So of course, all of our swatches will come pre-printed, and you can see the depth of print and the quality of the textile from our swatches, but it doesn't test your print file. So using our test print sample service is a good idea if you want to de-risk your order. We would definitely recommend it on large orders, and even for small orders where people really need precision. But we're very confident in our color matching already. We make so many prints so frequently all day long that we would be in an awful mess if it wasn't satisfactory. So on the whole, even general new people who are new to business of fabric printing are very satisfied, but at the professional level, if people need total accuracy, that's provided. And we will also do very specific color matching for high-end jobs where it's required.
So of course, where can we get the color charts?
The color charts are available on our website, where we have the swatches and the test sample prints.
What sort of finishing do you offer? I know you mentioned some of the other edges you did there. Yeah. Any plans to do hand finishing?
Hand finishing we don't actually offer it right now. It's one we are expecting to add, especially the more silks we've been printing, the more requests we get for the hand finishing. We've actually been interviewing and testing people out for this recently, so it's coming into our offering. Currently, we offer the rolled hem and baby hem, overlocking, various different types of finishing in our interface. They are explained as someone is selecting their fabric, which versions of finishing we have got available. Not everybody wants finishing either, so it can just come straight cut as well. But the objective would be for us to get to hand finishing and hand hem within the next few months. It's something we expect to offer on our silks.
Brilliant. That's a really good answer. I think a lot of people will be excited about that. Do you do everything in the UK?
Yeah, we're based in London. We have our factory and our facility here where we make everything from our one place in Park Royal. Kate, you visited, so you can...
Well worth a visit, everyone. And you'll be, actually, I probably shouldn't have said that. We should do a tour around for everyone.
So yeah, we do all of our production here in London. Not all fabrics come from the UK, as probably most people understand. So we do import quite a bit, and we order through a lot of UK wholesalers to get it into stock. and that becomes the material that we've got in position ready for orders. And regards lead time, we go pretty fast, in all honesty. So when someone places an order for a textile order in particular, so you could place it today, we'll receive that order automatically into our systems. And assuming there was no complications in the studio where you can size it, produce your pattern, select all of your choices and complete the transaction, that will come automatically into our systems. It gets aggregated and fitted to the particular type of textile that you requested, and pretty much on the same day or within 24 hours, that textile is through and ready for dispatch. The only time that would change would be when it's like really huge orders, over 200 or 300 meters, when we would have to do that in a number of days, and up to really big orders, then we could take up to 5 to 10 days for large orders, assuming that everything is in stock, which we're pretty good at. But all of the regular typical orders of half a meter up to 100 meters is pretty much running through the same day and out the next day for delivery, next working.
The advantages of manufacturing in the UK, eh?
It's definitely one of them, and we're an online business, so we have the needs of all of the customers to satisfy. So they want us to go fast, and we respond to that requirement.
Excellent. And obviously the big elephant in the room, sustainability. Everyone wants to know, and I know that's a how long is a piece of string question. Talk us through a little bit about the different sustainability considerations for each different type of print that you do.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Having been an organically grown business from very small, humble beginnings, we've had to keep sustainability in mind all of the time. Primarily from the waste not, want not point of view. If you're a small business, you can't really afford to make mistakes and have waste in your business. So you want to really efficiently maximize all of your print area, the textile. So that at the simplest level, we will try and maintain that concept all the way through our business, be really efficient on the textiles, material, power consumption, everything to do with the actual textile itself. And of course, then there's the recycled element to the textiles that we use. We've added quite a few new recycled polyesters into the business recently, and blends with cotton as well. So this is a new and interesting and sought after type of textile that people would like to try. We also care about not throwing stuff away. We're very efficient with our materials and with our electricity. There's hardly any water used in the process in the way we operate. Dye sublimation doesn't really need any at the point of production. Pigment doesn't either. With reactive, you have to use water in the processing of steaming and washing, but this is all contained inside particular machines which will use small amounts of water in the first place, but recycle and clean and then go through a process. Just so that people understand, with reactive, or often with many different printing models, the waste product that comes out of a print process has to be carefully checked, carefully disposed of. And one other thing on sustainability is, with all of our waste and offcuts, and we do have some, we would rather give it to people than put it into landfill. So we have a service where all sorts of packs of remnants are given to customers because they want to do some sort of home craft wear, or you want to use some cotton fabrics for making, for example, some dolls, or other people use them for other things like interior design and so on. Just crafting, there's a whole world of people there who are doing crafting, and we send those packs out just for the cost of the postage, rather than put it in the bins, which will go into landfill. With far rather it went to somebody who's trying to use it and make something with it, and we satisfy a lot of people with that remnant service.
Let's not forget, one of the worst things that the fashion and textile industry does is produce too much stuff, and making on demand mean you're only making what people actually want, rather than making a load of stock that you can't sell. From someone who's worked in big retail for years, where they buy everything in the thousands and half it does go into landfill, the best thing you can do is make stuff that you know you can sell in small quantities, or ideally as the customer needs it, which I suppose brings us on quite well to your make on demand and manufacture on demand model. So just generally tell us a little bit more how that works. How does the fulfillment work? Do we own our own designs if we design through you? How do people sell through you? I know that could be a whole nother masterclass in itself, but do you want to give everyone an overview on that?
With regards to the sales idea, we're really here as a facility for other people to use. So we have a lot of students who would order the fabrics, and we also have a lot of other homemakers and fashion designers and small business people who want to order products with us. Now that they know that we make, for example, outside the fabric ranges, things like handbags and garments and interiors like folding screens, footstools, once people know that we make those, then we are able to make any of them with your designs on. So it might be the case that you are thinking of taking the first steps into business with your creative designs, and you want to make, I don't know, an interiors range, and you want to have a rug, a roller blind, a curtain, a footstool as your collection with your particular art, then you'll be able to find those products on our website, design them on our website, and technically put them up for sale on our website, or have them ordered as wholesale items back to your base. And the beauty of that, again, it means that there's no huge commitment to stock. You can have just a small number of items made, and only those items get made that you're ordering. If you want them back to your base for wholesale, that's one way of doing it. Or they can go on sale on our website or through other channels, even without any stock, no commitment and no cost. So you could make and design cushions and have them available on our store, or through your store, or through your social media connections, never having actually made a cushion, but in the confidence that if an order does come through, that Contrado will be able to produce that cushion and satisfy that customer and send it out to them fast. As we mentioned before, we fulfill very quickly. But I think that's a very interesting new feature of the sort of digital world. All the people who have got the side hustle jobs, or who want to try something else, or just creative people who want to have a go at making something, we have this facility where people can make these products, again, without any commitments, but have got a wide range of inventory on the Contrado website. And to add to that, we also have a level of branding, which is helpful to people. So we print labels, and we have the swing tags, and we have the flyers and the posters and the business cards that also go with that, which are again available in the designer starter packs. But yeah, the fabric labels that go in your brand name on the products. This helps all manner of businesses and people trying to set up their businesses and give them their first steps to a market, and then perhaps their first steps to becoming a successful brand. And we very much offer our facility in these types of services to everybody who wants to have a go, because that's how we started, and we really want other people to be able to take advantage of that themselves.
Amazing. So how can people get in touch? Obviously they've got your website, but if they have a more specific question, what's the best way of them to get in touch with you?
Well, they have obviously the chat, but they can email us at info@contrado.com or .co.uk, and the team is there to answer. If, because of this masterclass, say that you were in the Make It British masterclass, and we will hear about it, so we can also jump on it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant. And I know as people sign up to your wholesale program, they get a discount. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah. So we offer a really wide range of services to all sorts of people. But for the guys who want to run their businesses and they need to order 20 of this or 50 of that or hundreds of that, we have a special pricing structure specifically for them. They just sign up for a wholesale program with us. And then once that's validated pretty quickly, it's usually within a day, then they're able to place those orders for those types of units and get a 20% discount, or up to 40% discount, even up to 50% on some lines. But generally speaking, there is a good, healthy discount there for people running their own businesses to give them the margin to make a good, successful business themselves.
Amazing. What a great note to end on. Thank you, guys. That's been really helpful. Chris and Gwen, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Thank you, Kate and Emily from Make It British. Appreciate that. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. We'd love to see your questions. So I hope we are able to field those questions and as soon as possible, and come back to you with as many answers as we can.
Yeah. Do email us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And you also got live chat on your website. You've got live chat on your website as well, haven't you?
Yeah. Web chat, email as well. That works. Mention Make It British. They will know.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone. Mention Make It British, and they'll give you extra special white glove treatment. Thank you so much, guys. Incredible.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.